At 7,000 revolutions per minute, the heart of a masterfully crafted GT3 car roars. Only the world's chosen few can tame it, use all of its might, and conquer it. Driving in arenas that have stood the test of time, an all-out brawl occurs between the greatest drivers on Earth. Unleashing the full potential of their equipment, they know no boundaries. This is racing. No franchise showcases the core essence of racing quite like Gran Turismo, and in this video I will tell you everything there is to know about the latest installment, the troubled but still worthy Gran Turismo 7. A racing game never felt this good. Cars grip as they should, it truly feels like the real driving simulator. GT7 is still a Sim-K title, albeit one that leans towards the realism side far more than any other. There is a certain weight to the vehicle not present in other games of the genre. It truly stands out as one of the best in its generation. Unfortunately, the competition isn't exactly comparable. Forza hasn't had a new motorsport title in over half a decade, so only Grid Legends remained. Grid is, however, incredibly arcadey and isn't trying to be a Gran Turismo competitor, so GT7 really has nothing to go up against. Even so, this has to be the best handling GT game ever made, a step forward in absolutely every way possible. Polyphony managed to transfer the process of driving a precise machine like a GT3 car onto a controller perfectly. This is the best racing experience a gamepad user can get in any game. Everything just feels right. This review was originally going to be about Grid Legends, however switching from GT7 to Grid was such a shocker that I couldn't do anything but come back. That is just how good the driving physics are. It is, however, still far from realistic. Cars tend to be seconds per lap faster than their real-life counterparts. This is achieved by giving the player significantly more grip than they realistically should have. Unfortunately, GT7 does not have a standard Gran Turismo career. It utilizes the menu book system, which I will touch upon shortly. You can play the game as a standard Gran Turismo game if you do certain menu books, however this brings the experience down massively, as it just doesn't feel even nearly as polished as it used to. The game categorizes events by track, instead of championships, which is a real shame. I prefer the old way of doing it much more. This means that to find all, for example, World Touring Car 700 events, you have to search through every track available instead of just clicking on a championship. This is something even GT Sport, a game not focused on career mode, got right. Such a strange design choice. The game does feature a few championships, culminating in the GT World Championship. Winning this unlocks the endgame cutscene and finishes the main line of menu books. Arcade mode doesn't really exist per se. It is instead split into multiple separate features: Custom Race and Time Trial, which are available per circuit, and Split Screen, which is in the online hall. Custom Race is amazing. It lets you choose the exact grid you will race against, using cars from your garage, or just keeping it random. With so many options to tinker with, the amount of fun to be had is limitless. Well, it would be, had the AI not been nerfed in it. They are much slower than event AI, especially in a straight line. A real shame. GT Auto returns with the usual GT features, however there is the fresh addition of wide bodies on certain cars. These need no explanation, just an all-around decent feature. The tuning shop, called Understeer Engineering, is the home to tuning in GT7. It is split into sports, club sports, semi-racing, racing, and extreme categories. Each of these offer different tiers of performance upgrades. For example, you buy slick tires in the racing tab, and nitrous in the extreme tab. This obviously costs credits. This gains currency. Escapes come back better than ever, with over 2,500 scenes at launch and more added in updates. Utilizing Gran Turismo 7's gorgeous visuals, the photos you produce can be absolutely breathtaking. This is a great moment to touch upon those as well. GT7 is one stunning game. On PS4 it looks like a better version of GT Sport, which it is. However, on PS5 it looks so close to reality that sometimes you struggle to differentiate the two. Impeccable job by the developers, one of the best looking games of the next generation. GT7 doesn't utilize ray tracing during gameplay on next gen, however it can be turned on in replays and photos at a locked 30 FPS for extra eye candy. The License Center is no different from past games, however you really only have to pass National A to progress to the final championship. There are 10 tests per license, of which there are the usual 5, National B and A, International B and A, as well as Super. They aren't difficult to gold, so getting that 100% completion isn't super difficult, except for the S10 graduation test. It is a notoriously difficult challenge which has you behind the wheel of a Porsche 917K around the drying circuit, the famous Spa, on dry tires. It is up to you to avoid the vet line and keep it from going sideways into the barriers. Incredibly fun. The mission stadium is similar to older titles, with nothing notable about it to be said. It houses the only current endurance of races. There are 3 dealerships in GT7, the used car dealership, Brand Central, and legendary car dealership. Each of these sell a unique variety of vehicles. Cars in the used car dealership and legendary dealership fluctuate on price. Whether that is by their mileage or the way the live market behaves depends on the car itself. The used car dealership sells, well, used cars. Usually on the cheaper end, they are the common sports cars. Brand Central sells every car made after 2001 available in-game. This includes 55 manufacturers and 307 cars respectively. It features a unique invitation system which is executed incredibly poorly. To get invited to buy a car, which lets you buy cars you otherwise couldn't, you have to get lucky in a roulette ticket, which is incredibly unlikely. The legendary car dealership features classic and iconic machines that you otherwise cannot purchase. These are incredibly expensive and prestigious to own. Cars in the UCD and LCD rotate by running out of stock, and after a day of being unavailable, they're switched with a different car. It is important to note the cars marked with hot are in stock for twice as long as regular cars. There are 3 forms of multiplayer in GT7. Sport mode, lobbies, and split screen. I will be discussing all 3 of these. Split screen remains largely unchanged from the much older entries in the franchise. It also happens to be fundamentally broken. The second player cannot change assist settings, meaning they are all turned on. This is incredibly annoying and has not been fixed by the time of writing this, over 10 months since launch. Little pro tip: to have the ability to choose garage cars in split screen, you must favorite them in the garage. After doing this, they appear in the car selection menu. Lobbies are races you set up yourself. They are unranked and usually the gateway to a blast of a time with friends. You can set up sprints, endurance races, drift trials, unique challenges of your own, and so much more. The connection issues apparent at launch have been mostly patched up at this point, so if your net type isn't strict, you will have no issues playing. If you're in the mood to play in lobbies with randoms who won't ram you, I suggest joining the Gran Turismo Discord server. Lobbies are set up almost every night and they're usually a blast. Sport mode is the ranked multiplayer in this game, and isn't it amazing? You have 2 ranks, driver rating, which represents your driver skill, and sportsmanship rating, which represents how clean of a driver you are. DR usually dictates how fast the people you will be racing up against are, whilst SR usually tells you if they rage quit a lot or not, because it is shockingly easy to get to the maximum rating, that being S. The DR ratings go as follow: E, D, C, B, A+, and if Polyphony thinks you're special enough, you get S tier. SR follows the same pattern, however you can get S tier regardless of Polyphony's blessings. Actually, you will probably end up with S since it's laughably easy to do so. Sport mode has 3 events every week. These are daily races. Daily A doesn't change your DR or SR, however it is ranked. These are usually road or tuned car events. Race B and Race C usually follow the format of either Group 4 or Group 3 cars around the circuit for a certain number of laps. They affect your rating, so these are the ones you will be doing the most of as you progress through the ranks. Race B is usually a sprint, lasting a few laps with no tire changes, typically around the 10-minute mark. Race B is a 30-minute event with tire changes and sometimes refueling as well. Races start at a certain time, so we'll have to wait for that to jump into one. I should probably explain what these groups are. There are 5 groups in GT7, Group 1 through 4 and Group B. These dictate classes used in online modes. Group 1 is for LMP1s, LMH, Group C cars and Custom Vision GTs. Group 2 is for GT1 cars and Super GTs. Group 3 is a GT3-like category with some fictional cars in it. Group 4 is similar to Group 3 in the sense that it features fictional machines. It is GT4-esque. One of the best soundtracks I've had the pleasure of listening to. The menus use the typical fusion jazz, whilst the race music connects to a great mix of artists, with the highlight, as always, being Daiki Kasho. Imperfection and perfection go hand in hand. Their very existence is intertwined. To truly relish in excellence, you must learn to look past the flaws. This game is, at times, an absolute mess. It takes too long to change the color scheme of your car. Music resets in every menu you go to, which is incredibly frustrating. However, I won't talk about the details. Yes, the devil hides in them, but I want to see what must be improved for this to truly be a generational gem. The menu book shouldn't be the core focus of the game. It is a neat side activity, however it just doesn't work very well. It ruins the conception of a GT game. There are a whopping 39 main missions which shape up the entire essential gameplay loop. You must be delusional to think this is a good idea. A much better alternative would be if the game suggested a menu book based on the car you're driving, so you had more things to do with it, whilst learning stuff in the process. It should have been a complementing feature, not the core design idea. Wasted potential, just like the game itself. Why is that? Well, the game is one good update away from being an icon. It mainly lacks events, since at this point, it barely has more events than GT5 had after its online got cut off. It also desperately needs a restructure of single-player content in general, with a bigger focus on what made games like GT2, GT4, and GT5 so damn excellent. The roster could use some updates, but it is more of a pet peeve than anything else. What my point is might sound like a massive thing to ask, but that is what the game needs. A clear-cut, focused, large update to steer it back on track. This is what hurts the most. Constantly feels like it needs a breakthrough update to become racing game royalty. Thank you so much for sticking to the end. It means a lot. This video has been in the works for a long time, at least compared to the other two, so I'm glad to finally finish it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.